My bike chain broke. Call Bike Boy. This neighborhood had this one kid. Everybody called him when their bike broke. He could fix anything. Flat tire, if your chain fell off, the brakes were wonky, call him. Hey, my brakes are wonky. I'm on 5th Street. You called the right guy. He showed up carrying this beat up old backpack. He drove a bike, and attached to the bike was this trailer thing that he would keep all his tools in, spare tires, chains. He had a bike pump. It was a mobile bike repair shop. He even made his own tiny business cards. Tyler's Bike Rescue, and his phone number. The entire neighborhood kept them in their wallets, because you never knew when you needed them. Even parents would put these business cards on their refrigerator. Business started getting bigger and bigger. Suddenly, he wasn't just fixing bikes. He would install new grips, swap the pedals out for something nicer, adjust seats, improve the seats. He was now a bike repair and customization service. Every afternoon, there'd be 2 or 3 bikes flipped upside down in this kid's driveway, and he'd be working on them. People were paying him pretty good. And by the end of summer, Tyler, this random middle school kid, became the neighborhood's official bike roadside assistance and customization. You gotta respect the hustle. There was this kid whose locker was in the best spot of the school. It sat directly under one of the school's air conditioning vents. It's nice and chilly over here. Nobody paid attention to it, not really even him, until one day he throws a Gatorade on the top shelf of his locker. Comes back a couple hours later. Whoa, this is ice cold. And it's cold. So the next day he tries it again with a soda, a warm soda. He puts it in the morning, he checks it after lunch. Oh, that's a crispy soda. That's when he gets an idea. Instead of filling the top shelf of his locker with his own drinks, he starts renting shelf space. $1 to keep your drink in there until lunch. $2 if you wanted it till the end of the day, to have a cold drink for practice or something. People didn't believe him at first. Dude, there's no way your locker is like a refrigerator. Until one dude tried it. He went to pick up his Dr. Pepper before lunch, and it was cold. No, guys, it actually worked. It was first come, first serve, until the top shelf of the locker was rented out completely. And there was always someone who couldn't get a spot because it was booked up. Kids lined up before the first bell at his locker, holding milk, Gatorade. One kid said, "Will it freeze my ice cream?" He had it organized. He put sticky notes on with the person's name so he knows whose was whose. Teachers found out, but they were just amazed. Like, yo, what a smart kid. And what a strong air conditioning vent. And according to the students, that was the most valuable locker in the school. Yeah, I believe it. And guess what? You gotta respect the hustle. She's 20 years old, still living at home. She's in college. That's me. She's got 5 younger siblings. Almost every single day, she is the one cooking, cleaning, and driving the kids around. In this house, that's just how it works. Well, one night she gets home late. Her class gets done at 7:30. Normally she's home by 8, but on this day she stayed to talk to the professor a bit. No big deal, right? But she came home late. Walks in the house around 9:15. I cannot believe you. Her mom is super mad. The sink's full of dishes. There's no dinner. One of the kids had to be picked up from practice by somebody else. The mom says, "You are absolutely useless." Excuse me? Her feelings were obviously hurt because she is definitely not useless. She does so much for her family every single day. Well, after her mom said that, she didn't fight. She just went right to bed. The next morning, she doesn't wake anybody up like she usually does. She doesn't drive anybody to school. And she doesn't make dinner that night. And then she does it again and again and again. And the house starts failing. Dishes are piling up, laundry doesn't get done, kids are missing school. Now everybody's angry at her. This is your fault. This is your fault. Useless. Milk. She realized all these things she was doing were expected of her. And when she stopped doing it, nobody stepped up to take over. They blame her. And shortly after that, she moved out. And her family hasn't talked to her since. That's messed up. She told him to wash the car, and she gave him a bucket and a sponge. You should be all set. All right, I'm on it, Mom. So he goes outside with the bucket and the sponge. He sets the bucket right next to the car. I'm gonna put you right here. Then he goes to the side of the house and grabs the hose. Okay, got the hose. And he begins dragging the hose over to the bucket by the car. All right. But the hose is not long enough. It doesn't reach. Ah, great. So, he turns on the water. Fill this bucket up, but how am I gonna do it? Just gonna launch it from here. And he begins spraying the hose and trying to arch it into this water bucket. Come on. But the bucket keeps tipping over. Come on. Not again. He adjusts his stance, he changes the angle of the hose, he's trying to find the best way to fill this bucket. But this kid didn't realize that he could just take the bucket and bring it to the hose and then bring the bucket back to the car. Like, at no point does that enter his brain. His mom's watching him through the window. I raised an idiot. I mean, yeah, kinda. It was this kid's 3rd birthday party and he did not care at all. So he was turning 3 and his parents went all out. Huge backyard party, like 50 people. Family, friends, cousins, neighbors, everybody was there. Everyone was eating cake, baby, playing games, presents stacked up. The kind of party parents throw because they know their kids are going to remember it forever. So that morning they gave this kid one of his gifts early. Here, sweetie. It's a little plastic toy lawnmower. Lawnmower, I like it. The kind that clicks when you push it, and he loves it instantly. He won't put it down, and they're thinking, good, great, best gift ever. So the party starts, people show up, kids are running around, everyone's having a fantastic time. And meanwhile, the birthday boy isn't anywhere near everybody because he's in the front yard, slowly mowing the lawn with his fake lawnmower. Just walking back and forth, pushing that little mower. He's completely locked in. And the party's happening in the backyard. Everyone's trying to get him involved. Like, hey, come on, buddy, come on, open some presents. Doesn't even respond, just keeps mowing the lawn. Hey, bud, it's your Uncle Joey. Come on, let's have some cake. Doesn't care. Eventually, people just start laughing because this entire time they're looking outside. This kid's just walking back and forth, mowing the lawn, could care less about his party. Then it comes time to sing happy birthday. They can't get him inside, so everyone else had to come out to the front yard and sing to him while he didn't listen and mowed the lawn instead. Actually, that's awesome. There was a kid in class that never talked, always sitting by himself staring ahead. One day, the kid next to him is trying to be friendly, and he noticed he's got a headphone in underneath his hat. Hey man, what you listening to? Maybe it was music, maybe it was a podcast, he doesn't know. Kid slowly pulls out one earbud and hands it over. Okay, that's weird, but the kid takes it, puts it in his own ear. Oh, you want me to listen? Okay. At first, he thinks it's broken. Then he hears it. 481, 482. What is it's just some guy's voice counting. Kid then pulls out his phone and shows him. The video on his phone said, British guy counting to 5,000. Oh, nice, man. Why do you listen to this stuff? And all the kid said to him was, it's none of your freaking business, bro. 496. That is so weird. Hector's driving to work one morning when he sees something on his dashboard. What is... It's a jumping spider, and Hector does not do spiders. So immediately he's freaking out. The car's swerving. It's dangerous. He's trying to keep one eye on the road and one eye on this thing. Then the spider disappears somewhere in the windshield. He's gone. For now. The next morning, Hector gets in the car to go to work, and the spider's back. This time, Hector kind of sighs. He's like, all right, just stay there, okay? And weirdly, after a while, he gets used to it. That spider's there every morning. Oh, hey, morning, buddy! Sometimes on the dash, sometimes on the radio knob, and eventually Hector starts talking to it on his way to work. Man, it's good to see you today. I didn't sleep well last night, but I think with some coffee I'll be good. If traffic was bad, look at this idiot! That's what I'm saying. If he's late, we're not gonna make it on time today, buddy. At one point, Hector doesn't see him for a few days. He gets worried, but then he pops back up. Okay, there you are. I missed you. Now it's a part of the routine. It's been about a week since he met the spider, and it's his buddy now. One day he's driving his wife to work. She gets in the car, and she sees the spider. All right, let's go. Ah! Oh no, that's just... Ew. Don't worry, he's dead now. His wife just killed his best friend, and he's actually devastated. The ride to church is pretty quiet. His wife finally says, are you seriously mad at me right now? And he just cries. You rode with me every single day this past week. He was my best friend. Rest in peace, man. Rest in peace. Man, that's sad. This teacher straight up embarrassed herself. Back in 3rd grade, this teacher was doing a lesson on animals. So, can anybody name me a mammal? This one kid, we'll call him Mason, raised his hand excitedly. Oh, a platypus! The teacher kind of frowned. Oh, no, sweetie, mammals don't lay eggs, and platypuses lay eggs. It's a bird. You are wrong. Mason looked confused, but the platypus is a mammal. Don't you argue with me, it's unbecoming. I'm not arguing, now you're being disrespectful. Mason just sat there quietly. But that night, he did some work of his own. The next day, Mason came into school with printouts, scientific articles, diagrams, highlighted textbook pages. This kid had evidence. He was ready to prove this teacher wrong. So in class, he walked right up to her desk, and in front of the entire class, he said, "Excuse me? Just so you know, the platypus is a mammal. Look, it lays eggs, but it still makes milk, and that's what makes it a mammal." This is... I've been teaching for 15 years. I think, yeah, and you've been wrong for every single one of them. Boom. Class exploded. At this point, the teacher was fuming. "Go to the office now." But when he explained what happened to the principal, even the principal was like, "Yeah, man, you're right. Platypus is a mammal." And he didn't get in trouble at all. After that day, Mason never got another question wrong in that class because she never called on him again. This dude had a super weird experience at a friend's house. This kid said he used to hang out at a friend's place after school. Nice house, quiet neighborhood, totally normal. But every time he walked in that house, the mom would always say the exact same thing. "Shoes off, kids, and don't touch the walls." Now at first, this kid thought that this lady was just a clean freak. Until one day, when he leaned on a wall. Barely. She came around the corner instantly, like she'd been watching. She didn't yell. She didn't get mad. She just handed him a paper towel and pointed at the spot. "Wipe it until it's gone, please." The weird part? There was nothing on the wall. No smudge, no print, no mark, but he just wiped it anyway. What is going on? Later that night, he asked his friend what that was all about. "Yo, what was that all about?" His friend just said, "She thinks that walls remember everything. Like if you touch a wall or lean on it, you leave a piece of yourself behind." Your mom's nuts. Whatever, he went home and he just tried to forget about that weird moment, but a week later, he heard that his friend's house had been repainted, the entire interior. When he asked his friend what the reason was, his friend replied, "My mom said too many people touched the walls, so she repainted it to give the house a fresh start." Bro, what? That mom might need a little help, okay? One day, this school had a guest speaker come for an assembly. The whole school was packed into the gym. Hundreds of students, everyone bored out of their mind. The speaker was some local business guy, and all he was going to be doing was talking about leadership and hard work. Nobody was paying attention until about 20 minutes in, a student, let's call him Kevin, stood up. "Excuse me!" The entire gym went silent. Everyone looked at him. Even the speaker stopped mid-sentence. And in a serious, confident voice, the kid says, "I have a question." Yeah, totally. What's your question?" Then Kevin, without hesitation, asked, "Would you rather fight a gorilla once a year but you get a sword? Or have to fight a chicken every time you open a door forever?" The entire gym lost it. The teachers were stunned. The speaker stood there processing. Finally, I think I'd take the gorilla." And Kevin just nodded. Respectable choice. And he sat back down. Well, as you can imagine, the entire assembly was completely derailed. For the next 10 minutes, students were arguing about the gorilla or the chicken. The gorilla's the obvious choice. I mean, what are you gonna do? Every single time you open a door, you gotta fight a chicken? I just won't open doors, you idiot. Like, that's realistic. How are you gonna go forever without opening doors? Principal finally got on the mic. "Everybody shut up!" And the assembly was cut short right then and there. And after that, the "would you rather fight a gorilla or a chicken" became the most debated question in this school's history. People were making posters and hanging them on the wall. Gorilla versus chicken. Kevin never really said anything about it after that day. But for the rest of high school, people would walk past him in the hall and just whisper, "Hey Kevin, respectable choice." And that's how he became a legend. This teacher had a secret drawer. When this guy was in 7th grade, his teacher did this weird thing. She had one drawer in her desk that she never opened. She'd grab pencils, papers, even her coffee mug from all the other drawers, but that one drawer, she would never touch. One day while she was out sick, that class had a substitute. And in the middle of a lesson, that sub needed a stapler. "I need a stapler." Okay. So she went over to the desk and started opening drawers. Grabbed a few things, and then she got to the forbidden drawer. And she opened it. Well, the students noticed her open this drawer. What is this? Inside the drawer was a McDonald's bag, perfectly intact. The sub went into the bag and pulled out a medium-sized McDonald's fry. What in the world? It looked normal, like it was just bought yesterday. How long has this been in there? "I don't know, miss, but honestly, I would leave it." And she did. She put that right back in the drawer and closed it. The next day, the teacher was back, and everybody was dying to know what was up with those french fries. I hope you guys had a great day yesterday. Yes, I'm feeling much better. Hey, miss? Oh, yeah, Carlos. Why do you have McDonald's fries in your drawer? The teacher just smirked. Because they never rot. I bought them 5 years ago. 5 years? Holy crap. The class was horrified. But they look completely normal. Exactly. That's why I keep them. It's my little experiment. Food should not look like that after 5 years. In that class for the rest of the year, whenever somebody brought up McDonald's or talked about food in general, she would pull out those 5-year-old McDonald's fries, just to make a point how bad fast food is for you. My name is Mike, and today's my first day at a new school. Oh, I forgot to mention I'm a bully, and I plan to be the biggest bully here. Are you a bully? Yeah, are you? Yeah, today's my first day. I'm Mike. Hey, I'm Chad. Nice to meet you, man. So, who's easy pickings around here? I love to bully that guy. How about that dude? That's Kyle. I wouldn't bully him if I were you. It's not worth it. Yeah, right, it's always worth it. I'm gonna bully him right now. Hey, loser. Who are you? I'm Mike. I'm the new bully here, and I'm gonna make your life a living hell. Oh, really? Just like how you make your parents' life a living hell? Oh, I'm sorry, should I say parent? I'm sure your mom doesn't even know who your dad is. Wait, what? You donkey-looking, big-head, hat-wearing fool. I bet you eat cereal with water because your dad never came home with the milk. You suck, man. Well, you suck more, for less. I told you, bro. I miss my old school. So this girl had just turned 16 years old, and all she wanted was a simple birthday dinner. Not a party, no gifts, just one dinner with her family. Her parents promised, oh, of course, sweetie, we'll go out tonight anywhere you want. Any place at all. I'm so excited. Thank you. She was so excited. She got dressed up, picked out a restaurant, and waited for them to be ready. Except they weren't ready at all. They kept saying stuff like,
just a minute, honey. We're finishing something, sweetie. Just 1 minute.
She was frustrated, but she tried to be patient. So she stopped rushing them, because surely when they were ready, they would tell her. Well, an hour passed, then 2. Finally, she walked downstairs, and she saw her family eating takeout in the living room without her. What's going on? Oh, hi, honey. We got really busy, so we decided just to order in. You can have some if you want. It's pretty good. Yeah, it's really good. She just stood there. They could have cared less about her birthday dinner. And the worst part is they didn't even realize how much this hurt her. She felt humiliated. So without saying a word, she went into her mom's purse, took out some cash, put her coat on, and walked out the door. Luckily, the restaurant was pretty close to her house, so she walked there. She walked to that restaurant alone, without her family, because, well, you know, she gets in, she sits down, she orders her favorite meal. The server was really nice. So, how was everything? It was really good. Thank you so much. Are you celebrating anything? Yeah, it's actually my birthday. Oh my gosh, happy birthday! I got something for you, 1 sec. The waiter walks away and comes back with a tiny cake and a candle in it. She was flattered. This was the nicest someone's been to her all day. A few minutes later, she asked for the check. The waiter said, oh, don't worry, you're all good. This lovely couple over here paid for you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday! She was almost brought to tears. That moment meant more to her than anyone would ever know. Well, she then went home, went to bed, and didn't say a word to her family. But from that day on, she stopped expecting anything from them. And on her next birthday, she didn't even tell her family that it was her birthday at all. Her family didn't even remember anyway. That's messed up. This petty principal sucks. One day at this high school, a student came into class 10 minutes late. It was first period. He was still rubbing the sleep out of his eyes. Well, the principal just so happened to be doing classroom check-ins that morning. In that classroom. You're late, Anthony. Why? I missed the bus. I ran here. I'm so sorry. Not good enough. Come with me? She pulls him out in the hallway and just starts laying into him, but she didn't close the classroom door, so that entire class was watching, like, what the heck? You think the world's gonna care? You show up late to a job, you're done. You show up late to college, they drop you. Life's not gonna babysit you, Anthony. Anthony stays quiet. Then she says, maybe if you got your life together, you would stop showing up late. That's when Anthony finally let loose. You want to talk about getting my life together? I get up at 5 a.m. to get my little brother ready for school because nobody else will. I pack his lunch, I make sure he eats, I try to make the bus, but if I miss it, I run here as fast as I can. So don't stand there and talk to me like I'm just some lazy kid. No. You want to lecture somebody? Why don't you start with yourself? At least I'm showing up and still doing something that matters. I'm not just clocking in for a paycheck and going home to a life I hate. If being a bitter old hag was a subject, you'd be an A+ student. Now get out of my face. Dead silent classroom, dead silent hallway. One student in the classroom whispered, "Ain't no way she's coming back from that. Ain't no way." From that day on, Anthony was a legend, and the principal, well, she stopped doing classroom check-ins in that class. Good for him. This teacher had the weirdest rule. So this kid, let's call him David. He was in middle school, and this one teacher had a lot of weird rules, but one rule stood out to be the most weird. At the end of every class, students were required to shake this teacher's hand before leaving. Every single day. It didn't matter if you were sick, your hands were sweaty, or you were holding all your books, you had to shake this teacher's hand. And now David, like a lot of others, thought that this was the dumbest rule ever. Like, why is this even a thing? Creep. Well, one day, he decided to test it. Alright, class is over, the bell rings, everyone's lining up to shake this person's hand like he's the dang president. When it got to David, he just walked right past. "Excuse me, David." "Yeah? What do you think you're doing, man?" I'm leaving, man." "Not until you follow the rule like everybody else." "I'm not shaking your hand, you weird..." The whole class goes silent. The teacher, fuming. He walks to the door and he blocks it. "Well, if that's the case, you're not leaving, you weird..." Now David's stuck. He can't just leave, and the entire class is watching this entire thing go down. David sighs. He slowly reaches out his hand. Fine. He goes in for a handshake. That's right. Now as their hands are about to touch, David inhales and fakes a ginormous sneeze. Spit goes all over this teacher's face. Everybody just get out of the classroom now. Just go. The next day, the rule was gone. I guess the teacher tried talking to the principal, but the principal told him that it was kind of creepy in the first place to make all your students shake your hand before leaving class. I agree. This kid got blamed for something he didn't do. This one day at this one high school, during their free period, a kid was eating lunch outside by the football field, while a couple of students were kicking and throwing around a football. This kid, let's call him Steven, was sitting nearby. He wasn't playing, he was just eating his lunch. Suddenly, go long! Crash. One of the football players accidentally threw the football at the school window and it shattered. A teacher comes sprinting out of the building. "Hey yo, who threw that?" Everyone's frozen. Then one kid pointed to Steven. It was him. He kicked it. "What? I wasn't even playing." But the teacher was already on the walkie-talkie. "We got a broken window. Student responsible has been identified." Come with me. Steven is dragged to the office. They pull up security footage, but the camera angle cuts off right before the area where Steven was eating and they were playing, so it was useless. So, they just take the other kid's word for it. Steven gets 2 days of in-school suspension, and he has to pay $147 to fix the window. And the worst part? 2 weeks later, the kid that blamed him brags about it in the locker room. "Yeah, I just didn't want to get in trouble and Steven was sitting there anyway. It was perfect." One kid heard it, went to the office to tell the principal. You'd think they would apologize, right? Nope. They just said, "Yeah, well, the case has already been handled. It's done, so nothing to do about it now. But thanks for letting me know, man." And that's the dumbest reason I've seen anybody get into trouble ever. Justice for Steven, man. That ain't right. Every winter, this one patch of ice formed outside the side entrance of the school, and nobody ever salted it. And kids figured out something fast. If you hit it at full speed and land just right, you'll just keep on sliding. It was this long stretch that if executed properly, kids could just slide for what seemed like ever. Groups of people were doing it every morning. Yo! A pile of backpacks here and a line of kids here. It wasn't easy. Some kids wiped out. Some kids went pretty far. Well, one kid showed up, he took it way too seriously. Before and after school, he shows up with 2 of his biggest buddies. And if somebody wanted to slide on this ice, they had to give him something. "What you got?" "Well, you're in my math class. I'll give you the answer to tomorrow's homework." Deal. He would then let them go and mark down how far they went. 15 feet, 18 feet, 25 feet. Now, everyone's showing up with offerings to get in line to try to beat the best record. This kid's getting tons of snacks, homework answers, random items. That's when one angry janitor sees what's going on, and he's like, "Oh, I can't have this." So every morning he begins salting it. That forgotten ice patch was no more. But for that time, it was awesome. So a subscriber sent in this story. This one comes from an 8th grader in Missouri who had a teacher. We'll call this teacher Mrs. K. Now, at the end of the school day, most teachers were fine with students having their phones out. Cause, it's the end of the day. It's chill time. But not Mrs. K. Mrs. K had this insane rule. If she caught you with your phone out, she would call your parents. She would then lie about why you had to stay after school, and then she would lock you in a closet. That's real. So one day, it's the end of the day, and this 8th grader gets a text from their mom. They check it really quick, and boom. Mrs. K sees it. Phone now. She snatches this kid's phone, and in front of the entire class, she calls this kid's parents. Hi, this is your kid's teacher. I'm calling to inform you that your child is failing my class. I highly suggest your kid stays after school today with me while I help them study for the upcoming test. Well, I'll have your kid call you when we're done. Bye-bye. So school ends and this kid heads to Mrs. K's classroom, hoping for the best, hoping Mrs. K is not going to be too hard on them. But that's not what happened. Mrs. K just said, since you were on your phone, you're getting in the closet. She locks this kid in the closet, and the kid's just sitting there scared, crying all by themselves. But here is where the whole thing turns around. When that kid got home, they told their parents what had happened. They called the school immediately. The next day, they went into the school to speak with the principal. And shortly after that, Mrs. K was fired. And honestly, she definitely deserved it. It started small. This kid brought a few things from home that day. Headphones, a hoodie, and some random collectibles. And somebody jokingly goes, I'll trade you my Jordans for those headphones. He says, okay. And that's the moment it clicks. The next day he comes to school and that duffel bag he brought of stuff is heavier. And he starts telling people during lunch to meet him in the bathroom. And everything he had was up for trade. Okay guys, line up. Here's what I got. What do you got? And the value is negotiated right there on the spot. A hoodie for a watch for AirPods, AirPods for a portable speaker shaped like SpongeBob SquarePants, a portable speaker shaped like SpongeBob SquarePants for a porcelain plate that someone stole from their grandma's house that's worth a lot of money. Okay, I think we all did good today. We happy? Yep. Perfect. By week 3, there's a huge line of people holding random objects trying to trade with this kid, because the best part is you were never sure what he was going to bring. Some of the stuff that was traded included shoes in a plastic bag, electronics, gift cards, jewelry. Bro, that's a PlayStation 5. I know. Now, say you wanted something nice, but the thing you had to trade didn't equal the value. Okay, I'll trade you this for that, but tomorrow you gotta bring me something else to make it even. Deal. So now there's credit on the line. And that's when it gets dangerous, because if someone didn't follow up with their end of the deal, there was arguing, fights, full-blown bathroom brawls. And then came the bandits, bigger kids that stormed into the bathroom one day and stole everything. Hey, Pipsqueak, give us the stuff. I knew I should have hired security. That's another lesson. Always hire security. The school then gets involved in a pretty major way. Suspensions, confiscations, meetings with parents who are finding out for the first time that their kid traded their family heirloom for a freaking SpongeBob speaker. That bathroom was closed down for the rest of the year. But nobody ever forgot that underground trading post in the school bathroom. When this kid was a toddler, his mom would keep him on a leash in the yard. She would clip it on him, and then she would tie the leash to something in the yard. And she let him play while she did the dishes. Well, one day he's sitting in the yard and he's eating ants straight off of an anthill. Just literally grabbing them and eating them like they're freaking popcorn. Well, that's when he gets curious. So he takes a handful of this anthill and starts stuffing his pockets. He's stuffing his pockets with ants so he can have a snack for later. This kid then takes the harness off of himself and begins walking towards the street. Just him, free, with a pocket full of ants. The mom sees this and goes outside to start to get him, but as he reaches the road, a van pulls up. This dude opens the van and grabs him and puts him in the van. Yeah, kid, get in, kid. There's another guy inside. There's a guy driving the van and another guy in the back seat. So now it's this dude, the kid, and the other dude sitting in the back seat. Now his mom is losing it. The car peels off. She's screaming, chasing this van. But inside the car, everything changes. The guy who grabbed them starts screaming. What? No, get him off me! Get him off me! He's thrashing, panicking, because guess what happened? This toddler's pockets, like I said, were full of ants. And now they're everywhere in the van. This guy loses it. He just yanks open the van door and throws this kid into a ditch. Car's gone. The mom finds the kid moments later, alive, well, covered in ants. and eating them. And honestly, that's the craziest story I have ever heard. This kid goes to the arcade one weekend and finds something sitting on the carpet right next to one of the machines. It's a key. At first, he thinks it's just a random key, but then he realized it looked a little different, so he tries it in one of the machines. It works! The machine opens to the area where it keeps all of its tickets, and it works on every single machine in the arcade. So now he realizes, I have so much power, but I better be careful. Now this is the town arcade that all of the kids go to. And the prizes that arcade gives out for tickets are these unique prizes that you can't find anywhere else. So what he does is he plays it safe by slowly stealing tickets little by little until he has a giant amount. He would then take these tickets to school. Look what I have. Is this for the town arcade? Dude, give me some. What do you got? And he's trading these tickets for basically everything. Lunch, desserts, homework answers. One kid traded him a pair of barely worn Jordans. Here, have them right off my feet. Oh, this gets you a bunch of tickets. Here. Now, eventually, the arcade catches on because these kids kept coming in and redeeming tickets, although they never even played a single game there. Boss, something's weird here. The managers are confused, and the machines get checked. And after that, the key didn't work anymore. But by that point, this kid had so much random stuff that he was fine with it. I regret nothing. Legendary barter system. A subscriber's 5th grade story. So this one comes from a subscriber who said, back in 5th grade, his homeroom teacher was just completely mean. Always mad about something. Well, one day in class, his friend made a funny face at him, and he giggled. That's it. Just a giggle, no big deal, right? Well, when he got home that day, his parents were furious. They said that the teacher had emailed them, saying that he was laying on the ground laughing at the teacher, making fun of her, and mocking her, which never happened. He tried to explain, that's not what happened, I was just giggling at my friend. And his parents didn't believe him. And this didn't just happen once. It happened again and again and again. Each time the teacher would exaggerate a straight up lie in these emails home. Eventually his parents started to notice that something was off, and they brought it up to the principal, but the teacher didn't stop. One day she gave him 2 detentions back to back. And during one of those detentions, she walked into the room and said to his face, you know something, you should really stop doing sports because you're obviously never gonna make it anywhere. You should just focus on your schoolwork and maybe you won't end up in detention. Okay? Have a good one. Bro. Once his parents found out that she said that, they told the principal. Once the principal found out that she said that, she was done. She got fired. Good riddance. When this dude was a kid, he was spending the night at his friend's house. It was a super hot day and they had just come back in from playing outside. And these dudes were scoundrels. They were playing with mud and dirt, sand. They were sweaty. So before dinner, this kid wanted to take a shower. So he figured that wouldn't be an issue. He grabs a towel, he walks to the bathroom, and as he's about to close the door, his friend's mom says, hey, no showers before dinner. This kid kind of laughs because obviously she's joking, right? I mean it. He paused. He was like, why? 'Cause it confuses your stomach. Confuses your stomach? What the heck is she talking about? He stood there, still sweaty, covered in dirt, mud, sand, towel in his hand, with his friend's whole family nodding to him like this is some normal situation. So he sat at the table, feeling completely nasty and trying to eat a slab of lasagna that he said was super mid. And when he was finally done, he stood up to go use the shower. That was great. Thank you. I'm gonna go shower. And that's when his friend's mom said this. No, wait at least an hour. Your body needs time to transition. I think my body's fine. I'm just gonna wait at least an hour. Your body needs time to transition. At that moment, he just sat back down. He silently decided that he was never gonna come to this friend's house ever again. It's a sleepover at his friend's house. They're sitting down talking when somebody mentions a microwave. I almost microwaved my fork. That would have been crazy. Why would that be crazy? Everyone's like, you can't microwave metal, man. You didn't know that? No, and I've never tried. They explain to him that it's bad to microwave metal, like fire hazard bad. Well, they all go to sleep, and this kid's laying there. He can't stop thinking about it. Metal, microwave. Microwave, metal, metal, microwave, metal. Metal, metal, microwave, metal. He just can't let it go. Staring at the ceiling, he decides, ugh. I need to find out for myself. So he goes into the kitchen of his friend's house, opens the silverware drawer, grabs a handful of forks, knives, and spoons, puts it in the microwave, and presses start. For the first 3 seconds, nothing happens, but then, crackling, sparks. a flash bright as the sun, and then flames. The microwave is now fully engulfed in flames, and the cabinets start on fire. Fire alarms are going off, everybody in the house wakes up and they go outside. The fire trucks arrive and they're putting this fire out. Luckily, it's not too bad. The kitchen was pretty messed up though, but the entire neighborhood was outside in their pajamas watching this thing happen. And obviously, they found out who did it. Bro, we just told you about metal in the microwave. I had to see it. And that, my friends, is nuts. This kid came back from summer break like 4 inches taller. Hey, what's up, guys? And everybody noticed immediately. Bro, what happened to you? Yeah, you're like tall now. And he just says, growth spurt. And the thing is, he had been the short kid forever. So now he's walking different, he's feeling different. He's standing straighter, he's talking in class, making jokes. People are complimenting him constantly. And he's popular now. But then a few months later, it's gym class. Everyone's playing kickball outside. And this kid is taking it seriously. He's talking trash. Nice shot, idiot. What's up? I'm gonna win. Well, he's up and the ball gets rolled towards him. He takes one big kick and his shoe flies off. Oh no. Now that's not a big deal, but then he had to go get his shoe. At first everyone's like laughing, like, your shoe fell off, no big deal. But as he begins to walk towards his shoe, they notice that he's limping. Yo, bro, why are you limping? You good? Yeah, I'm fine. Don't worry. I'll get my shoe. Wait, hold on. What the heck? Everyone runs over. They pin this dude down in the grass and they pull his other shoe off. Let me see these other shoes. What? Inside his shoes are these giant 4-inch height inserts, like full elevator platforms. These were the things that were making him taller. I can explain. Yeah, so can we. You're a loser. And the rest of the year after that, kids were brutal to him. Kind of feel bad, but you guys, doesn't matter how short or tall you are, just rock it. It's first grade and this kid's at a school assembly. The whole school is there. It's a very small school, kindergarten through 12th grade. And it's some educational assembly, like the frickin' Wiggles, trying to get students to learn in fun ways. Actors singing and dancing, they're trying way too hard to make learning look fun. And that's a rhombus. Well, this kid is barely paying attention. Because the night before this, he was watching Spider-Man cartoons, and he was thinking about an episode. So he's half asleep when one of the actors asks, all right, students, who sailed the ocean blue in 1492? Well, this kid's friend elbows him. He's messing with him. Hey, bro, she called on you. So he raises his hand. Okay. She says, okay, what's the answer? What's the question? Who sailed the ocean blue in 1492? And instead of actually thinking about it, he said the first thing that comes to his mind. Norman Virgil Osborne. No. Dead silence. Everyone's confused. Then one of the older kids says, did he just answer that question with the Green Goblin? That's hilarious! And then suddenly the entire school starts cheering him on. They push him down to the middle of the gym and they tell him to dance. Dance! 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 They're chanting. The kid has no idea what to do, so he just busts a move. It was horrible. He was embarrassed and he left the gym. But honestly, that sounds like an awesome assembly. This kid got life advice from a guy eating string cheese. This kid was 14. He was having a rough week. He was failing a class. His friends were acting super weird. He had just gotten into a fight with his mom, who said, you know what, why don't you take a walk and don't come back till you figure yourself out. Oof, tough break. So he left. He went to a park and sat on a bench. Just sitting there, staring at a duck that looked as lost as he felt. Quack, quack, quack. Then this guy walks by, mid-30s, fishing hat on and a pole in hand, and he was eating string cheese. But he was eating it like a menace, not peeling it, just munching right into it. The guy slows down and goes, hey, you good? This kid doesn't answer, he just shrugs. The guy nods like he gets it, and he says, cool. Just remember this, most stuff doesn't make sense when you're in it, but it will later. So don't quit until it starts to make sense, alright? This guy takes one last bite of his string cheese, throws the wrapper in the trash, and adds one last thing. Also, learn to cook one thing really well. That's important. That kid never saw that guy ever again. But he went home, and he made scrambled eggs. And honestly, they weren't that bad. Respect to that guy. You're late. And you're a... There was this kid, let's call him Marcus, that was always like 30 seconds late to class. Every day. And his teacher, let's call her Miss Harris, she hated that. I hate that. So one day, Marcus walks in, super chill, backpack half unzipped, no rush at all. And yes, he was around 30 seconds late. Which, in my opinion, 30 seconds late, come on, lady, chill. But anyway, Miss Harris goes, "You're late." Marcus, he didn't flinch. Didn't even sit down. He just stood there and went, "Don't you get tired of being dramatic?" The whole class goes, "Oh." But Marcus wasn't done. Every day with the attitude, like, "Chill, Broadway, you ain't on stage?" Then he hit her with this. "Over here acting like me in the door personally offended you, you goofy looking woman. You're built like a late bell. Always ringing for no reason. Get out of my face." Kids were literally falling out of their chairs. One kid had to leave the room. "You gotta excuse me, I gotta take a walk." And Miss Harris just sat there, frozen, like her spirit just left her. You would think she would have sent him to the principal's office, but I think she was so embarrassed by Marcus roasting her and the class all laughing at her expense, she just did nothing. After that, she never said a word to Marcus ever again. Because, yeah, she tried to embarrass him, but he ended her in 10 seconds. That's wild. "Mister, I need a pencil." "Well, then you know what to do." There was this one English teacher at this one school that had a full-blown ritual just for handing out pencils. But it wasn't funny, it wasn't goofy, it was actually kind of unsettling. He called it
The ceremony.
And it happened every single time somebody asked for a pencil. You couldn't just say, "Can I borrow one?" You had to raise your hand and say, "I seek the tool of wisdom." And if you said it wrong, he would just stare at you, dead silent, until you said it right. Then he would unlock a little drawer which he called the vault. He'd slowly remove one pencil and hold it up in the air, like it was sacred. Sometimes he would even close his eyes. Yes. And before he would hand it over, he would look at the entire class and go, "Together now? Use it well, write with honor." He said this binded the exchange, and if somebody in the class didn't say it with everybody, he would just hold onto the pencil and wait. And here's the part that really unsettled people. If you disrespected the ceremony, like if you laughed or whispered or rolled your eyes, he would mark your name down in a little red notebook. Didn't say anything, he just wrote your name down. And people swore. Every time he did that, there was a pop quiz the next day. Got to the point where people stopped forgetting to bring their pencils to class. Not because they were just more prepared, but because they were terrified to ask the teacher for one. Every night at 8 p.m., this kid's parents would shut off the internet. Didn't matter what he was doing. And to turn it back on, you had to have the password. Homework, group projects, whatever, it didn't matter. At 8 p.m., the Wi-Fi was getting shut down. At first, he's mad, like this is not fair, but then he realizes the neighbor's Wi-Fi signal is very strong, and they're very old, so there wasn't a Wi-Fi password. He begins doing his homework on their Wi-Fi by his bedroom window. Okay, perfect. It works. But then like winter hits and the signal gets worse for some reason. Dang it, connect, send! Don't! He starts getting closer and closer to the neighbor's house. He begins sitting on his front porch, then outside their windows. This goes on for weeks. Sometimes the signal's better, sometimes it's horrible. Until one night, the signal was very bad, so he was sitting directly underneath their bedroom window. He didn't know it was their bedroom, but another neighbor saw it. What is that creep doing? And yeah, I guess it would look pretty creepy, this dude sitting outside the neighbor's window with a laptop. In the dark, the police get called, the cop shows up, he explains to them, "I'm using their Wi-Fi. Mine gets cut off at 8 p.m. by my parents. I have homework to do." Cop's not even mad at him. He's like, "Where are your parents?" The parents come out. The cop says, "You shut off the Wi-Fi at 8 p.m.? He's got homework to do. Look what he's doing." He shames the parents. And the parents are very embarrassed because, yeah, that is the stupidest thing I've ever heard of. Nobody gets in trouble that day. And the parents stopped turning the Wi-Fi off. That's just wild. He wrote all of that down in that notebook? Yeah. Holy sh! Everyone at the school knew about Eli. Not because he was loud or popular. It was just the opposite, actually. You see, Eli was just off. He wore the same hoodie every single day, carried one of those tiny spiral notebooks in his back pocket, and he was always scribbling in it during class. Like it'd be mid-lecture, he would just pause, start writing in this thing, and then he would stop, snap it closed, and stare ahead like nothing happened. Now, people assumed it was a sketchbook or he was writing stories or something, but the rumors started flying pretty quick. Some kids thought it was a hit list. Others thought he was writing creepy fan fiction. It got to a point where a teacher actually pulled him aside to ask him about it. Eli just said, "It's nothing bad, I just like to keep track of things." And for a while that was enough, until someone found one of the notebooks. It fell out of his pocket during gym class. Oh my god. Yo, Steven, Is that what I think it is? Yup. And yeah, it wasn't a hit list, but it was weird. He had pages dedicated to different people. Not in a creepy way, more like stats. Stuff like, Jamie asks to borrow a pencil 3 times a week. Mr. Grant pretends he doesn't see phones on desks. Cafeteria, chicken sandwich rotation is every 6 days. It was like he was documenting the entire school. Patterns, routines, habits, everything. And the weirdest part, he was right. Everything he wrote down was dead on accurate. He had memorized the school's entire system and everybody in it. After that, people stopped making jokes. Because anytime somebody wanted to know something, like what day pizza was coming back, when Mr. Grant gave pop quizzes, what the fire drill schedule looked like, they didn't ask the office or the teachers. They asked Eli. So yeah, he wasn't a problem. He was a database. At this school, snacks were allowed, but certain snacks were banned, like hot Cheetos, Takis, and anything sour. And the school wasn't joking about this either. If you got caught with them, that was a detention immediately. Is this Sour Patch Kids? Yes? Detention! So them being this illegal made kids want them more. So one kid's sitting back, looking at the situation, he's like, okay, so these snacks are basically illegal, but everybody wants them. And he commits. He goes to the store, and his bedroom becomes a storage. Boxes, drawers, bags, all full of these banned snacks. Every morning, he would grab a small handbag, nothing too crazy, and he would put a bunch of these snacks in there. He would then take it to school. And he's not selling openly. He's being very discreet about this. Between classes, quick handoffs, and it blows up. People are nervous buying them. Hey bro, let me get some Takis and sour gummies. Got you. Everybody's paranoid. So he makes it very clear. Every time he does a sale, he says this: if you're caught with this, that's on you. If you snitch, that's a whole different issue. And standing by him every single time is his best friend. Big buff dude. He never talked much. If you snitch, he'll find you and he'll get you. Yeah, and nobody snitched. For a while, one kid did, and he wasn't caught with candy or in the act of buying it. He snitched because he was petty. He was jealous of this kid's business and he wanted to shut it down himself, so he did. There was a huge investigation launched, and that kid who started this business was expelled. That's too much. For almost a year, this kid kept reporting the same bully to the office. He beat me up again. And every single time, the school staff reacted the same way. Okay, we'll look into it. He's just being dramatic. And this bully was ruthless. Locker shoves, he would slap the books out of his hand. He started rumors about him. Hey, he uses onions as soap. But the school staff kept saying, we'll keep an eye on it. I'm not doing nothing. They just weren't taking it seriously. They didn't think he was telling the truth. After a while, are you sure you're not misinterpreting things? You keep reporting the same student every day. We need proof. I don't have proof. Well, that's too bad. Well, that spring, they installed cameras in the school, all throughout the hallways. The cameras were not installed for bullying. The superintendent just made the decision. Well, the first week the cameras are live, this kid was bullied every day. And at the end of the week, he goes to the office. It happened again. Every single day this week, he shoved me into the locker, he beat me up, he slapped the books out of my hands. Here we go again, we need proof. Well, this time you do. Remember? You guys installed cameras in the hallway. Oh, that's right. They checked the cameras, and they saw it. Every day that kid being bullied by the same bully he said he was being bullied by. And there was an investigation launched. The bully gets suspended for 2 weeks, and the school staff pulls him into the office and apologizes. I mean, finally, but that's still super messed up. When he was 10, his grandpa asked him, what do you want for your birthday? And he says, a brick. A brick? Why? Because my parents still have this super old TV. If I throw a brick at the TV, we'll have to get a new one. Oh, I'm just kidding. Maybe just some Pokemon cards or something. The grandpa just smiles and nods. A couple months later, this kid's birthday comes around, and there's a beautifully wrapped present on the table. Heavy, perfect corners. The kid opens it. Inside was a single brick. The grandpa's losing it. You're crazy. I can't believe you remembered. And the grandpa leans in and says real quiet to him, wait till your mom's in the kitchen and then we'll waste the TV. So the kid's mom goes into the kitchen to grab the cake. The kid takes the brick, smashes it in the TV. TV is destroyed. What happened here? Now we gotta get a new TV. Yes. The grandpa took the blame for throwing the brick at the TV. I don't know why I did that. Then the kid says, it's okay, Mom, please don't be mad at Grandpa. I'll help you pick out the new TV. Okay, fine, you're right. It's okay, Pops. You'll be okay. Just sit down and relax. I'll clean this up. The mom then leaves to grab the broom. Nice work, kid. I love you, Grandpa. What a nice story. It's testing week at this one middle school. Normally, kids have the Chromebooks open all day during class, or they're using the school iPad. And as you can imagine, the kids have TikTok tabs open, they're playing games, YouTube is paused somewhere. Well, this week, the teacher says, no Chromebooks or iPads all week this week. The kids are like, what? She then says, we're just gonna be watching movies. Now, when I was in school, that would be the best thing you could hear. There'd be cheering. But this room goes tense. So we're just gonna sit here and stare at nothing? Miss, we're gonna be so bored. This is stupid. Yeah, this is actually messed up. They then start calling the teacher horrible names. You're a frickin' loser, idiot. Piece of crap. Yeah, I hope you die. It escalates and escalates. One kid flips a desk. Enough! The teacher then grabs the school police liaison. He comes in and shuts this entire debauchery down. Every student in that class gets into big trouble because what the heck is the matter with them? Are kids really that obsessed with the screens these days? Maybe I'm old. But like I said, all I know, movie days when I was in school, the best. These are the worst parents ever. In this house, certain words were banned, like disgusting. If you said the word disgusting, you were grounded for a week. Obviously, no swear words. Bedroom doors had to stay open at all times. Only time they could be in a room with the door closed was the bathroom. This kid's parents hated Cartoon Network. They called it garbage. So yeah, super controlling parents, but one day it became completely out of hand. One day the parents decided that these kids were bad enough to deserve a real punishment. You've seen nothing yet. So the sister was 14, the brother was 12. The parents made them gather every single item in their bedroom. Clothes, pictures, diaries, toys, childhood keepsakes. Their parents made them bag this stuff up in trash bags. And then they marched them outside to a giant burn pile. March to the backyard. And item by item, they made the kids burn every single thing that they bagged up. Every memory, every photo, every childhood item, completely gone. The next day, they went out to see what was left, and it was just ashes. Their entire lives up to that point, ashes. So yeah, in my opinion, worst parents ever. You didn't leave the table until you finished your plate. The kid usually just tries to power through it, but he's tired. He doesn't want to do this anymore. So instead, he pretends to take bites and he puts the food into his pocket. Then after dinner, he sneaks upstairs. But he doesn't throw the food in the garbage because he's paranoid. He thinks his parents will find it and realize what he's doing. So instead, he hides it in the vents of the house. Didn't matter what food it was either. Mashed potatoes, chicken, vegetables, fish. Every night, a little bit more. Stuffy, the foodie. But his plate's always clean after dinner and his parents are happy. He's like, this is a solid deal, cowabunga baby. Well, a week and a half go by and yeah, the house begins to smell horrific. His parents think there's a dead animal in the attic. They hire someone to come look, but there's no dead animal. Then they have the carpets cleaned, then the walls cleaned. And the last thing they got checked was the vents. The guy pulls it open, he's looking. Yeah, there's a bunch of old rotten food in the vents. And everything kind of comes to light. The parents find out what the kid's been doing, but they feel bad. They're like, oh my God, we were forcing you to eat. You weren't hungry. You shoved the food in the vents. We're horrible parents. Well, maybe, kinda. Why would you force your kid to eat? Regardless, that rule stopped, and the house still smells a little bit like fish. This is nuts. So one day, this kid slapped another student with a ruler. Hey, Billy. Everybody laughs. Even he did. Nobody gets in trouble. Well, for some reason, witnessing this kid slap another kid with a ruler ignited something in them. Because the next day, tons of kids came to school with their own rulers. Of all different kinds. Wood ones, metal ones, plastic ones. And just like that, the hallways turn into medieval combat zones. My turn! Mr. Kevin, no! Milk. School staff started confiscating rulers from everybody, but there was so many kids with rulers, it was very hard to do so. And just like that, another ban. The school banned rulers. If anybody was caught with a ruler, it was taken and they would get a detention. If they were caught 3 times with a ruler, they would get suspended. Now you might be asking, hey, Elliot, what about the classes where rulers are required, like geometry or something? Well, those teachers would pass the rulers out at the beginning of class and collect them at the end. But still, incredible. These kids must have been obsessed with rulers, because that sounds crazy. His friend's house had the weirdest rule ever. This dude said when he was younger, he was spending the weekend at one of his friend's house. They were in the kitchen getting snacks when his friend casually said, "Hey bro, don't eat the last chip." He grabbed the chip bag that his friend was talking about. He opened it and looked inside. There was literally one chip left in this bag. One chip. Why not? Because the last chip is for the house. What? He laughed. He thought he was joking and he popped that chip in his mouth. He ate it. Okay. A few moments later, the mom walked into the kitchen and saw that the last chip had been eaten from this chip bag. Who finished it? There was only one chip left. She just stared at him. That doesn't matter. The last chip is for the house. Always. He figured it was just a weird moment. Him and his friend went about their night. They were playing video games, just chilling. The next morning, this kid goes looking for some cereal in a cabinet, and that's when he saw it. Dozens of snack bags, all of them open, each with exactly one chip left. At this point, he was like, what is going on with this family? Bro, what is this? That's the house's cabinet, and those are the house's chips. Did you not listen to my mom yesterday? Bro, what? At that point, this kid was just hungry. He called his mom, and she came to pick him up. What is with these weird families, man? It started small. This kid brought a few things from home that day. Headphones, a hoodie, and some random collectibles. And somebody jokingly goes, "I'll trade you my Jordans for those headphones." He says, "Okay." And that's the moment it clicks. The next day he comes to school and that duffel bag he brought of stuff is heavier. And he starts telling people during lunch to meet him in the bathroom. And everything he had was up for trade. Okay guys, line up. Here's what I got. What do you got? And the value is negotiated right there on the spot. A hoodie for a watch for AirPods, AirPods for a portable speaker shaped like SpongeBob SquarePants, a portable speaker shaped like SpongeBob SquarePants for a porcelain plate that someone stole from their grandma's house that's worth a lot of money. Okay, I think we all did good today. We happy? Yep. Perfect. By week 3, there's a huge line of people holding random objects trying to trade with this kid, because the best part is you were never sure what he was going to bring. Some of the stuff that was traded included shoes in a plastic bag, electronics, gift cards, jewelry. Bro, that's a PlayStation 5. I know. Now say you wanted something nice, but the thing you had to trade didn't equal the value. Okay, I'll trade you this for that, but tomorrow you gotta bring me something else to make it even. Deal. So now there's credit on the line, and that's when it gets dangerous, because if someone didn't follow up with their end of the deal, there was arguing, fights, full-blown bathroom brawls. And then came the bandits. Bigger kids that stormed into the bathroom one day and stole everything. Hey, Pipsqueak, give us the stuff. I knew I should have hired security. That's another lesson. Always hire security. The school then gets involved in a pretty major way. Suspensions, confiscations, meetings with parents who are finding out for the first time that their kid traded their family heirloom for a frickin' SpongeBob speaker. That bathroom was closed down for the rest of the year. But nobody ever forgot that underground trading post in the school bathroom. Who knows what tabletopping is? When I was in school, tabletopping was this kind of dangerous thing where you would get on your hands and knees behind somebody and your friend would push them down over you. Okay, I'm not recommending it, but this one school got a brand new teacher fresh out of college. It was literally his first week there, but he looked like a 16-year-old. What's up? I'm Mr. Johnson. So one day during passing period, he's walking through the hallways carrying his bag. And on this particular day, this group of kids were going around tabletopping people. So they figured, hey, that's a student, let's tabletop him. Yo, next victim. Perfect. So these goofballs decide to go for it. One of them gets in front of him and says, "Hey, what's up, bro?" "Oh, hey." While the other gets behind him on all fours, and he pushes. He falls down, and he breaks his arm, and that's when the students can see his staff badge. Bro, that's a teacher! What? I could have sworn it was a freshman! Teacher screaming, his arm is broken in half. Office gets called. These kids literally get suspended. They were almost expelled. But that poor teacher, he was actually bullied for that entire year. That's just not right. There was a rumor that a kid at this school wasn't allowed to take tests. What? Quizzes, no exams, no finals, nothing. At first, everyone thought he was faking it, like, okay bro, test anxiety isn't a personality, get over it. But then the truth came out. This kid barely talked to anybody. No backpack, no pencil case, just showed up, sat down, and left. And every time there was a test, he was suddenly gone, like clockwork. People started making jokes like, he's got a medical exemption from Scantrons, or he's so smart they don't need to test him. But then one day a teacher slipped up. She was handing back test scores and looked straight at him and said, "Oh right, you don't take these." and he just nodded like it was completely normal. Turns out his dad was one of the district lawyers. And a few years back, the school messed up his IEP so badly that his family sued. IEP stands for Individualized Education Program. Well, like I said, his family sued, and they won. And part of the settlement, he didn't have to take any standardized tests until graduation. So yeah, the rumor was real. He had a real legal pass to never take a test ever again. This guy said that when he was around 7 years old, he would always wander off in stores. Target, Walmart, the mall, he'd see something he liked and he would just vanish. Well, one day, his dad was kind of sick of this, so he pulled him aside and said, "Hey son, you know what happens to kids who get lost in stores, right?" "What?" "Sometimes if their parents don't find them fast enough, the store keeps them." When this kid heard that, he was definitely starting to freak out a little bit. "What do you mean keeps them, Dad?" "If you're caught in a store looking lost, they'll snatch you up and bring you to the back room, where they'll make you fold clothes and pack boxes. See how the store's always stocked? Those are the lost kids that did that." "Are you serious?" After that, he never left his dad's side ever again. Not once. He didn't even go to the bathroom by himself until he was in middle school. He's much older now. He knows it was a lie. But even today, as he walks through stores, he still feels that pit of anxiety deep down in his stomach. But hey, at least he never got lost. His parents bought a house from a guy that owned a bowling alley, and the garage was stacked floor to ceiling with old wooden bowling pins, like surrounding the garage 10 feet high. So whenever they lit a fire in the fireplace, his dad would say the same thing. "Hey son, go grab me a pin." "Okay, sure thing, Pops." Then his dad would use that wooden bowling pin to start a fire in the fireplace, and to him, that was normal. Bowling pins equaled logs. Well, years later, he's at his first sleepover at his friend's house. It's a cold night, and the friend's dad wants to start a fireplace in the fire. "Okay, everyone, I'm gonna start a fire." Well, this kid sees this as a moment that he can help. He wants to be helpful, so he stands up immediately. "Cool, I'll help. Where do you keep your bowling pins?" "Bro, what?" They were all confused, like, "What do you mean, where do you keep your bowling pins, you freaking weirdo?" The dad finally laughs and explains to him that people can just use logs to start a fire, not bowling pins. And that's when it hit him. He was the weird one. His entire childhood fireplace experience was insane. And then he watched his friend's dad light a regular log in the fireplace, and he was disappointed. Because he said, "Bowling pins, they burned better." That's crazy.
এলাকার কি অবস্থা রে শুনে?
এই তো ভাই ভালো সবকিছু।
ভাই স্কুলগুলো আমরা অনেকক্ষণ ধরে আপনার লেখা রয়েছে ঝুলি কিন্তু চিন্তা করে লেগেছে ভাই।
ভাই আমিও সেইটাই কই। মানে ওর মাইয়া তানিয়া নিজেরে কি মনে করে কিচ্ছু বুঝি না। ওকে আমার থেকে দেখতে বেশি সুন্দর।
আবার আসবো স্যার। আগে আপনার বাসায় আসতে গেলে পা কাঁপতো, এখন আর পা কাঁপে না। বাদ কবিতা লিখতে হইব, কয় লাইন লেখছস দে, নাহলে কিন্তু আমি তোকে পিটামু দে।
তার লাগবে হইব না ভাই, এটা স্যার আপনি যেটা করবেন এটা করবো। কোন ফোন খারাপই করে লিখুন, কবিতা লিখতে পারবো না।
কোনো মাপ নাই।
এটা পড়ে আপনার প্রেমে পুরো রূপ করে পড়ে যাবো গা। আর তো আপনি পারবেন ভাই, আপনি পারবেন।
এত কিছু ফালানোর সিস্টেম জানোস, আর প্রেমে ফালানোর সিস্টেম জানোস না? কথা তো একেবারে ফালায় দেওয়ার মতো না। আগে যদি তোরা গুলিও করস, আগে সালামটা দিয়ে নে।
আপনার ছেলেকে আমার এত পছন্দ হয়েছে যে আমি তো বিয়েতে রাজি হয়ে গেছি।
জীবনটারে আজকে 50% সাকসেস মনে হইতেছে।
সেলিমের মতো এরকম মহল্লার একটা বড় ভাই যদি থাকতো, তাহলে আজকে তোর নিশ্চয়ই বদমাইশের কথা। শোনো, একটা কথা
ভাই বলবো না, এত
করি না ভাই।
বন্ধু তুই যদি রক্ত দেস ভালো লাগে না রে দোস্ত।
না দুলা ভাই, আমি তো কোচিং এ যাই নাই, আমার তো বাসায় গেস্ট আসছে আর আমার আম্মু তো একা, এজন্য আমি যাই না।
আমার পড়াশোনা সবকিছু বন্ধ করে দিবে, তখন আমি কি করব?
আরে ছাইরা দে। ভালোবাসা যে এত প্যারা, এত কষ্ট, এত জ্বালা যন্ত্রণা, জানলে ভালোই বাসতাম। জিসান আর তুলির ভালোবাসার ইতিহাস, তাই রক্ত লাগবে দোস্ত।
আসসালামু আলাইকুম দুলা ভাই।
আরে শালা, ওয়ালাইকুম আসসালাম। কি খবর, কেমন আছো?
বান্ধবীও তো যায় না, এতবার ফোন দিলাম ফোনও ধরতেছে না। তুমি একটা ফোন দাও তো, ফোন বের করো।
কি বলেন দুলা ভাই, ও যায় নাই? কথা হইছে, ভাইয়া বলছে যে ভাইয়া আমাদের কোচিং এর সামনে আর আসবে না, আর তোকে ডিস্টার্বও করবে না।
জানো না
দারুণ না?
আমি 1 থেকে 3 গুনবো।
না বাবা, প্রেম হইলেই হবে, প্রেম হইলে এমনি ডিফারেন্স হবে বাবা, আমার খালি ওরে দরকার।
রক্ত কেন? ইতিহাস লিখবো, ভালোবাসার ইতিহাস।
ভালো আছি, আপনি ভালো আছেন?
আমি তো ভালো আছি, তো তোমার বোন কোথায়?
আচ্ছা একটা মিনিট, আমি কল দিচ্ছি।
এক রাতে ভালো হয়ে গেল, এটাও আমার বিশ্বাস করতে হবে? দোস্ত আমার না ভয় লাগছে।
আসতে বলবেন না, সেটা আমার একটু জরুরি কথা আছে।
বাবা,
ভাই
আমি তো এলাকা ছাড়ার আগে
তুমি একটা গিরাট্টুকটা ছেলে, যেই ছেলে।
তানিয়া আমার পিস্তলটা নিয়ে আয় তো। কাকা দুধটা, কাকা কি দুধটা রাইখা গেলাম।
মাত্র সে ফেসবুকে স্ট্যাটাস দিয়েছে সে একটি অনাথ বাচ্চাকে।
কত স্যাক্রিফাইস করছি, এলাকার বড় ভাই থেকে রিক্সা চালক হয়ে গেলাম, আর সেইটাই করবো। যে গরম না, আর এই বড় ভাই তোর মায়ের চিকিৎসার দায়িত্ব নিছে। সেলিম ভাই ভালোবাসার লেগে জেল খাটছিল।
ভাই আপনি যত কথাই।
এই বাড়িতে ওই বদমাইশটার কথা একবারও ভুলে উচ্চারণ করবা না।
ভাই মিনিমাম আপনি 17 লাইন একটা কবিতা লেখেন। 17 লাইনের কবিতা
কিন্তু ছাপাই না, সব মাথার ভিতরে থাকে। যখন পড়তে ইচ্ছা করে মাথা, আমি জানো ওরে বাপ করে দেবো। আর আমি কি কমো জানো? তবু তানিয়া ভালো কেমনে বেটা, কস না কেন, বেটা।
এটা পড়ে আপনার প্রেমে পুরো উত্তরে পড়ে যাবো। আর উত্তর আপনি পারবেন ভাই, আপনি পারবেন।
ও 700 লাইন লিখবো, আর বাদ বাকি 300 লাইন আমি লেখা বললাম।
একটু নামিয়ে দাও, মানে ও ছাড়া পাক না পাক তাতে আমাদের কি?